Hello, I am David and I am an IELTS trainer. I've helped a good number of candidates achieve their required and desired band scores in the IELTS tests, both in the academic and the general training modules of the IELTS tests across the four sections of the IELTS tests, both in my online and on-site classes. Right now, I'll be sharing some deep insights into a high band score writing in the IELTS test, both for the academic and general training modules. There are two modules of the IELTS test: academic training module and general training module. But specifically today, I will be sharing with you the writing section of the IELTS test. The writing section of the IELTS test is divided into two: task 1 and task 2, either for the academic training or for the general training module. The academic training module task 1 for writing has data analysis and description. And there are different types of data analysis that you are likely going to come across in your task 1 if you're writing the academic training module. Examples of this data analysis that you are likely going to come across. The first example is graph. It's possible in your academic training module, especially for task 1, you're likely to come across graphs or a graph depending on the type of question that you have for your task 1 in academic training module. Another example of data analysis and description you are most likely going to come across is charts. So in this type of task 1 test for the academic training module, you are likely going to come across charts. So you'll be given some pieces of information on the charts, and you will be able to select main features from the charts and summarize them. The third example that you're likely going to come across is table. So you are likely to come across table, and there will be data on the table, and you'll be expected to select main features from the table as well as reports and summarize them. The fourth type of data analysis you are likely going to come across is diagram. You can be given a diagram to describe in your academic training module, most especially for task 1. Then the last aspect of this data analysis and description you are likely going to come across is a map. So you can be given a map, you can be given two maps to compare, you can be given a map to just select main features from the map, report them, as well as summarize them in your writing. Now let's look at task 1 instructions. What are the likely instructions you are going to come across? The first part of the instruction is that you are expected to write at least 150 words for this task 1. You are not expected to write anything less than 150 words in this task 1. Of course, you can write more than 150 words in this task 1. And task 1, the second part of the instruction says, summarize the information by selecting and reporting the main features and make comparisons where relevant. This is important. You must ensure that all the aspects of this instruction are well carried out in your execution of this task. I mean, in achieving this task. You must ensure that you summarize the information provided on the charts. You must make sure that you select the main features and report them appropriately. Of course, you are also expected to make comparisons where relevant in your writing. Without one of these or any of these, you are not likely to achieve the task given to you in task one, especially for the academic training module. The next aspect we're going to be looking at is task two. Okay, this task two is about essay writing, and this is common with academic and general training modules. But for this particular one, which is task two, you have 40 minutes. So altogether for your writing test, especially in the IELTS writing test, you have 1 hour. So you have 60 minutes in that case. There are different types of essay for and in task 2. One of the types is argument essay. The second one is discussion. And the third one is opinion, while the last one is yes or no. So there will be a question, okay, for any of these essay types that you will be able to respond to, okay? And in this regard, you can be given any topics to talk about in your task 2 writing. Now, let's talk about academic training module. That's the task 2 criteria. Do not forget that in task 1 criteria, the first criterion we spoke about was task achievement. But in task 2, there is a slight difference. And the difference is in the first criterion of the criteria for task 2. For task 2, the first criterion is task response. Okay, do not forget that in task 1 it is task achievement, but here in task 2 it's task response. So all the criteria share similitude with the criteria for task 1. Okay, other criteria include coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. These are all the 4 criteria for task 2 writing. So, just like I said earlier in task 1, you are expected to make good use of words, right, concise and precise to ensure that your message is communicated suitably well. First criterion, which is task response. Okay, it's important to know what the question is all about, what you're asked to do, understand the topic. And of course, this understanding cannot come without interpretation. If you have a good sense of interpretation of the topic, it will help you to understand the topic, and thereby you will be able to write good contents in your writing. Now let's look at task 2 instructions. What are the instructions you are likely to come across for this task 2 writing? Okay, do not forget that task 2 writing is about essay writing. So you're expected to know how to craft your ideas, okay, following the instructions and applying the instructions that have been provided in your test booklet. The first instruction says write at least 250 words. You are not expected to write less than 250 words. Okay, of course, you can write more than 250 words. It is recommended that you make use of 260 or 270 words its max when you're writing your essay. So, what I'm saying is that you can add 10 words or 20 words in addition to 250 words that you've been told to write at least. The second instruction says give reasons for your answer and include any relevant examples from your own knowledge or experience. You must make sure that whatever examples you want to give are relevant, first of all. Also, they are from your own knowledge or experience. All right. So, meaning that you are not to bring any research documents or research content into your essay writing, especially the ones you cannot provide references for. So, always ensure that you give reasons for your answers. Whatever answer that you have, make sure that there are reasons to support your ideas. There are reasons to support your opinion. Let's move to the general training module. There are also two tasks in general training module, just as you have in the academic training module. All right. In the general training module, you have task 1, also task 2. So for task 1, what are you expected to do in task 1? Unlike task 1 for the academic training module, in the general training module, you'll be given a letter to write. Okay, there are different types of letter you are most likely going to come across. Of course, I am not saying that you are going to come across different types, but you are likely to come across one of these different types I am about to mention to you today. The first type of letter writing you are likely to come across is formal letter writing. Alright, the second one is informal letter writing, while the last one is semi-formal letter writing. You are likely going to come across any of these three types of letter writing. You are therefore to ensure that you prepare adequately in order to write your letter appropriately and suitably. So we look at the criteria for task 1 writing for the general training module, same as academic training module. Okay, you have task achievements, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, grammatical range, and accuracy. These are the 4 criteria for task 1 in the general training module. Just as I explained, there will be instructions, okay, guiding your response or guiding your achievement of this task. So let's look at the instructions for task 1 in general training module. The first instruction is write at least 150 words, same as task 1 for the academic training module. In this particular instruction, you are to ensure that you do not write less than 150 150 words. Of course, you can write more than 150 words. Number two, instruction. You do not need to write any addresses. This is important. Okay, it will be stated on your question paper that you do not need to write any addresses. So you are to begin your letter by saying dear sir or madam. And of course, depending on the instruction that you're given. In some instances, you can be told to write or address your letter as follows, or begin your letter as follows. It could be, Dear Mr. Smith. It could be, Dear Madam Kate, depending on the content of the task one that you are given. General training task 2 writing. It's the same as the task 2 writing in the academic training module. Okay, you have different essay types. So you are most likely going to come across one of these essay types. Alright, it could be an argument essay, a discussion essay, an opinion essay, or yes or no essay. Alright, so you are to prepare, you are expected to learn how to write many of these essays because you can't say the type you are likely going to come across. But it's safe that you prepare uh, for any of these types that you may come across. Now, we should talk about the task uh, criteria for this task 2. It's the same as the criteria for task 2 in the academic training module, beginning from task response, coherence and cohesion, lexical resource, and grammatical range and accuracy. These are important parameters upon which your essay writing will be assessed. It's important that when you're preparing, you have someone to assess your writing to ensure that you have been able to prepare adequately well for this test. It is important that you practice with these criteria. And of course, you can't be a judge of your character. So I recommend you find a professional or you find a trainer or a coach that will help you assess your writing, of course, using these parameters. Once you are able to have someone to watch your back for you, then I say that you're good to go. The trainer or the coach or your consultants will be able to tell you where you need to work harder on in order to have a desired and required band score, most especially in your writing. Of course, you can judge your reading, your listening test by yourself because of the guided answers that have been provided in some guides, most especially from the British Council. Alright, but when it comes to writing, you need someone to help you. Okay, look at the criteria and assess your writing using the parameters, I mean the criteria that I mentioned earlier. We look at task 2 instruction. The first instruction is write at least 250 words. Alright, I've said this many times that when you are expected to write at least a number of words, it means you can write less than that number of words. Of course, you can write more than that number of words. If you're given 250, you are not expected to write less than 250. Okay, of course you can write more than 250 for task 2. For task 1, you can write more than 150, but you can't write less than 150. We should talk about writing score weighting. In the writing score weighting, there are uh, specific weights given to each criterion for writing. The first criterion, which is task achievement for task 1, task response for task 2, this weighs 25%. Task achievement for task 1, task response for task 2. This criterion weighs 25%. Coherence and cohesion also weighs 25%. I mean, the two as a criterion. The third criterion, which is lexical resource, weighs 25%, while grammatical range and accuracy as the last and fourth criterion weighs 25%. So you're having 100% for the four criteria with 25% for each criterion. We should carefully look at some time management skills for task 1 and task 2 writing. For any standard writing or professional writing, it is expected that your writing or your work undergoes three different stages. The first stage being pre-writing stage, the second stage being writing stage, and the last stage being post-writing stage. So, I will be giving you insights into these writing stages. For task 1, which takes 20 minutes, the pre-writing stage, you are expected to use 5 minutes out of the 20 minutes that you will be given in your test. In these 5 minutes, that is, at this level, this stage, which is your pre-writing stage for task 1, you're expected to brainstorm the topic given to you or the question or the data or information given to you in your task 1, be it for academic or general. You brainstorm what you want to write and how you want to structure your content. The second thing you do in these 5 minutes is to draft many of the ideas that are flowing into your mind. As you are brainstorming, you keep writing, you keep drafting. And mind you, your drafting shouldn't be long because it's drafts. It's called a draft. So you are expected to be specific in your draft. You are not expected to use long sentences or long phrases in your drafts. Words, short phrases that can remind you of the main ideas that you want to talk about or the main features that you want to summarize. Then, the last thing you're expected to do at this pre-writing stage is to organize these thoughts. Okay, your ideas represent your thoughts. You're expected to organize them. Let's take, for instance, you have 10 different ideas that you wish to talk about. This is where a prioritization skill comes in. If you are not skilled at prioritizing your thoughts or your ideas, you might waste a lot of time talking about what is not relevant. Therefore, arrange your points according to their priorities. All right, the first one, the second one, the third one, and on like that. I must also let you know that in your writing, while you're organizing your ideas, there are some ideas that can go together in the same paragraph. What are these ideas? These are similar ideas. Different ideas are to be expressed in different paragraphs. A paragraph should communicate a single idea. Do not mumble your ideas or three or four or two different ideas in a paragraph. Use one paragraph for one idea in your writing. But if you have similar ideas, ideas that look alike, then you can express or develop the two ideas in a single paragraph. Writing stage for task one. You know that you already have used 5 minutes out of the 20 minutes given to you for task one. You are left with 15 minutes. Okay, use 10 minutes of the remaining 15 minutes to start your writing. And what are you expected to do at this stage? The second stage of your writing for task one. Develop your ideas. Okay? This is not the time to start organizing your ideas. You already have organized your ideas in your pre-writing stage. That's your first 5 minutes. All right. Then in developing your ideas, you ensure that your ideas are well paragraphed. Okay, they are structured in unique paragraphs. Right. Then after that, you ensure that you make use of relevant examples in the development of your paragraphs and or your ideas so that your examiner will be able to read your content, okay, with enough reasons. Of course, you've given reasons for your answers. Post writing stage of task one for both academic and general training modules. 15 minutes is gone out of 20 minutes that is provided for you in your test. You are now left with 5 minutes. What are you expected to do within this 5 minutes, the last 5 minutes of your test? Okay, the first thing you are expected to do in these 5 minutes is to proofread what you have written. The second thing is to edit what you have written. So it's important that you take time or you have time, okay, earmarked for this post-writing stage so that you won't submit rubbish at the end of the day. Ensure that you proofread your work, okay? Ensure that you edit your work. All right, these are important things you're expected to do at this last stage. If you misuse or mismanage your time, you may not have enough time for this post-writing stage. In fact, you may not have time to edit what you have written. It's best that you practice with these time management skills that I am teaching you on this channel. Time management for task 2 for both academic and general training modules. The time allocated to this task is 40 minutes. There are 3 stages your writing is expected to go through. Okay, the pre-writing stage, writing stage, and post-writing stage. The first one, which is pre-writing stage for task 2, use 10 minutes to brainstorm your ideas. Okay, within these 10 minutes, make sure you are also drafting many of the ideas that are flowing in your mind. and ensure that you are able to organize these thoughts or ideas that are in your mind. Okay, if you're able to organize your thoughts and your ideas, you wouldn't need to start organizing when it comes to development stage. I mean, when you get to the development stage, you wouldn't need to start organizing because you already have done this in your pre-writing stage. So it's better that you do these three things before you start writing, before the development of your points. Brainstorm, draft, and organize your ideas. Okay, so this pre-writing stage will help you to gain stability in your writing. And of course, you will be able to write expressively by the time you are developing your points. Only if you already have brainstormed your ideas and you have drafted your ideas, organize your points, examples that you want to give, organize them, make sure that they are well orchestrated so that you would know how to develop them in accordance to their priorities or importance. Secondly, that's the writing stage. You're expected to use 20 minutes in your writing stage for task 2. So, out of the 40 minutes given to you for your task 2 writing, you by now have used 30 minutes. The first 10 minutes, that's for pre-writing stage, and the 20 minutes now is for writing stage. So, what are you to do at this stage? This is a development stage. Okay? This is where you start developing your ideas into paragraphs, including relevant examples, reasons for your answers. The post-writing stage now, that's for task 2. You are expected to use 10 minutes. Okay, that's the last 10 minutes of the 40 minutes given to you for task 2. The first 10 minutes, do not forget, that's for pre-writing stage. Okay, the 20 minutes is for the writing stage, and the last 10 minutes is for the post-writing stage. What are you expected to do at this stage? You proofread your writing, okay, and you edit your writing. Make sure that you are able to proofread your work. Do not spend too much time writing. Of course, it's important that you are able to express your ideas, but do not forget that you have time guiding your writing. So ensure that you are still within time when you get to this stage. Proofread your writing and edit them. Make corrections where necessary before you submit. Right now, we're going to look at last minute checklist. Okay, at the last minute of your writing, either for task 1 or task 2, there are certain things you're expected to do. And of course, these things are associated with the post-writing stage of your task, either for task 1 or task 2, for both academic and general training modules. The first thing you're expected to do is to look at the formatting of your writing. How is your writing formatted? Okay, you look at the capitalization in your writing. Did you use the right capitalization in your writing? What about paragraphing system? How is your paragraphing system? How are your paragraphs structured? Are they too long or too short? So you must make sure that all of these things are in place in your writing. Number 2 is singular and plural elements. Okay, you must ensure that the right forms of words are used in terms of singular forms and plural forms. Words that need to be written in plural forms, make sure you write them in plural forms. Words that need to be written in single forms, make sure that they are in singular forms. And ensure that there are agreements. That's the point number three. Okay, ensure agreements of elements in your writing. Okay, agreement in terms of number and persons. The fourth one is tenses. That's the fourth aspect. The fourth thing you are expected to check. Check your tenses. How are your tenses used? How are your tenses structured? Present tense, your past tense, and future tense. Make sure all these tenses are used appropriately in your writing. The last one is spellings. Okay, how are your spellings? Uh, are they consistent and are they accurate? Okay, you need to be mindful of unnecessary addition of letters or unnecessary insertion of letters. When you have an insertion of a letter that is not required or needed or necessary in a word, that will be termed or insertion error. When you add letters when they're not needed, that is called insertion error. So make sure you avoid such an error. The next one is omission error. So avoid an omission error in your spellings. What about consistency? Okay, make sure if you choose a style of spelling, stick to that style of spelling. You're using the British spelling style, then ensure that you are consistent with that style. And if you are using an American style of spelling, please go ahead and use that and make sure that you are consistent in your spelling. All right, so these are things you are expected to check at the last minute of your writing before you submit finally. If you have questions you want to ask me concerning any aspect of this video, please make sure you drop me some comments in the comments section. Thank you so much and see you next time.